Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Court-Martail Podcast. Introducing your host for this evening first. He is the host with the most from the West Coast, the Bay Area Brawler, Skyler Greenberg. And his partner, he has colonized, energized, and revolutionized the podcasting wrestling world today. Your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, to the Court-Martail Podcast. I'm your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, and I'm joined by the Bay Area Brawler, Skyler Greenberg, and the proprietor of the totally awesome podcast, JoshAgeddon, and this is our Royal Rumble review 2022. And boy, I wish I could share some enthusiasm. Are you guys excited or what?
I mean,
you sound like
my butt and it kind of hurts, so when can I unfasten? I have some things I need to release.
At the end of the show. You keep that to yourself.
You sound like a disappointed father that's watching his kid play soccer and he lets in 3 goals.
Yeah, this was a poor goalie performance. Not even the worst goalies could even prepare me for what I witnessed here on the Royalist of Rumbles 2022. And we've got, it didn't have many matches, but it was a long show. So what were your perceptions, JoshAgeddon, as loudly as you could purvey them while still feeling sad and dejected?
This show sucks.
Jazz hands. Yeah.
Basically, that's it.
Skyler?
So, I was watching this show, and I actually didn't think it was a bad show. But then, here's the thing, is that I went to bed, I woke up, I was sober, and I looked back and I'm like, no, this was terrible.
Yeah, this might have been, and I said this at the time, and I will say it now, this to me can be summarized in one line. WWE has given up, and so have I. This show was about as lazy as you could have possibly booked something to be. Easily the worst Royal Rumble pay-per-view, I would say, of all time, considering the circumstances and what the issues have been and how the current landscape of professional wrestling looks. This show was a downright abomination that rivals among some of the worst pay-per-views that WWE has ever put together. And did either of you two gentlemen watch the pre-show?
This show sucks.
There were no matches on the pre-show, so fuck that.
Yep, exactly. I love watching the pre-show just to kind of dub over what people are saying. I don't actually listen to what they're saying. I just kind of make fun of all 5 or 6 or 10 or however many people in the pre-show there were. But in any case, let's just jump right into this, shall we? We first start out with the Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and I never thought I'd see the day that Roman Reigns would kick off a pay-per-view, but here we are, and I really wish this match had not kicked this pay-per-view off. What were your impressions, Skyler?
So, hold on. Before we even get through this, I just want to say this very much, okay? As the eternal WWE optimist, I will try to be optimistic about this show as best I can until these two beat it out of me. Are we with me so far?
Oh, we're ready to beat it out of you.
No, I love beating it on you.
Okay, homosexual undertones, quiet. This...
Who are you telling that to, Sky?
Joshua, who else?
I don't know what you're talking about.
My point I want to make, though, is that this was the best match on the card. Even with the finish.
Explain yourself, baby.
I'm just waiting my turn.
Explain yourself, baby. I just want to hear a full-blown explanation of how you thought this match going funky like a monkey instead of all the rest of this hype-hop garbage on this show, baby.
Well, here's the thing. Joshua, why don't you tell me what you thought of this match? Because I know what you're thinking.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious as to what Dusty Rhodes thinks about this match.
Dusty Rhodes ain't got no opinion on this, baby. He got no dog in this fight.
Okay, so basically, I actually really enjoyed it. until the finish, but we'll get to that. I love that Seth Rollins came out in the Shield attire because the whole storyline is him just messing with Roman over and over and over and being the most annoying, insufferable person on the planet to Roman. But yeah, I enjoyed the Shield reference. The entrance music popped me. And the match itself was actually really good. These guys have chemistry. They always have good matches. I just could feel Sean already deflating with an immediate table spot on the outside as soon as the show started.
They didn't need to do the table spot this early in the show.
I mean, better then than I guess anywhere else. At least they spread it out instead of keeping it onto the Bobby Lashley and Lesnar match.
Well, they had a different spot for that one.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, no, most of the time when WWE does the obligatory table spot, they'll do it in the same match as the obligatory barricade spot. So it's nice to see it kind of spread out. So I was like, okay, that probably means that there won't be another table spot tonight. And there wasn't. So I was happy for.
But again, I thought this was really good. They really got me with the curve stomp near fall.
Me too.
And then Seth started mocking Roman some more, did the whole I love you so much thing with the fist bump, a homage to the Shield, and then Roman got really upset, put him in the guillotine. Seth got to the ropes. For some reason, the referee put Seth's hand on the ropes, which I thought was really weird.
Charles Robinson.
And then the ref counted to 5, and then I wanted to turn the show off. My problem is not the finish itself in a vacuum, because for the story they're telling, it's fine. It's good. My problem with this, WWE does disqualifications on every single fucking show. It's maddening. It's nauseating. Every single Raw, every single SmackDown, every single pay-per-view, they cannot help themselves but do at least one disqualification per show, sometimes more than one. I'm so sick and tired of it. This would have been so much better if they didn't do disqualifications all the time, and it just annoyed me more than anything else. And then the post-match went on for about 3 years.
Well, Skylar, I'd like to hear you explain your situation. And Joshua, just for the record, for your explanation of why you disliked it, I can totally understand it. Just being exhausted with, again, the laziness of the booking over the past 10 years. That I understand. Skylar.
Hold on. Joshua, I feel like because of the finish and WWE pissing in your cereal, you are dismissing the work that they did before that and why they built to the disqualification. Now, here's the thing.
It was a good match, and I enjoyed it. And if they didn't do disqualifications all the time, I would have been like, okay, that's a good finish. But they do disqualifications all the time, and it does nothing but annoying.
I get your point about WWE doing disqualifications because it's nauseating how they do them every single fucking time. This is different because, and you skip over a lot of details in this match. This match was about Seth Rollins throwing Roman Reigns' psyche off by doing little things all match to piss him off. The Shield entrance, the Shield attire, doing different moves of the Shield, like the power bomb, which is a Shield move, doing the pedigree, which is a reminder of the Triple H feud, and also when Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns for the title at Money in the Bank all those years ago.
Also, real quick, the pedigree spot annoyed me because it was really awesome when they did it at the Money in the Bank 2016 show. It was less awesome when they did the same spot on a random SmackDown. I have seen the mid-air pedigree. They don't need to keep doing it. It's like the Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy twist a fake counter into the RKO. They don't need to do it every time they wrestle. It's annoying.
Well, Jeff Hardy's not here anymore, so it doesn't matter. Point being is that this is a callback to all these moments. And I'm fine with that because I don't watch SmackDown enough to see those spots, by the way. The point, though, being is that everything was building up to the moment where Roman Reigns snapped and put the guillotine on. And at that point, he didn't care about winning. He didn't care about losing. He just wanted to inflict pain on Seth Rollins for doing annoying things to him. And that's why I like this disqualification, because we don't get the 5-count disqualification enough. Yes, we get people hitting each other with weapons, or we get countouts and stuff like that. WWE has not used the 5-count disqualification in a while, and I'm okay with it because it's different. Now, the post-match, I have different feelings about, which I'll let Sean explain.
Well, let's rewind the clock here so I can read my notes. Because I wanted to get all of that out. I wanted to get all that out.
Just absolutely unfathomable.
Let you guys get that pain out, and now I'm going to tell you about this match. I loved the intro with Seth and the Shield. We mentioned it before. I thought that was great. I was still a little confused who was babyface here. And I think it was Seth. And it was just odd because I think that while the crowd was into it, the dynamic was strange.
But Sean, those are just tired tropes.
Shut up, Cody. Shut up, Cody. You know what you did. You know what you did.
Placenta.
Did we get a collar and elbow? That's right. Did we get a collar and elbow tie-up in this match?
I can't remember.
The answer is we kind of got half a one because Roman Reigns was going for the lock, but then Seth ducked. So because of like the engagement was made, I gave it a half a point. So we have.
Also, that's kind of smart because Rollins knew he wasn't going to win a collar and elbow tie-up with Roman Reigns.
So I can't necessarily knock that. So we have a half of a collar and elbow tie-up.
But it's understandable why Seth Rollins didn't do it.
Of course. Now this is of course we cue the announce table spot, and this is the second time that we have understood that Roman Reigns wears red underwear when he's getting power bombed. I have mentioned this before.
Cannot let that go, man.
I have mentioned this before on the show. Get some different colored underwear. I understand why it's red, but why have I seen this twice? Get some tighter pants, get a belt.
Wear blue.
Yeah, get a belt. I don't care what you got to do. I don't need this information, but you're letting me have this information, so I got to mention it. And we get a frog splash, which looks nice. I loved the false finish, like you said. Roman Reigns' power bombs looked absolutely devastating in this match.
Agreed.
Like they were sent with so much more venom because of the way they were telling this story, which was really nice. The only thing there's a couple things I didn't love. I'm getting to the point where I'm understanding where the Roman Reigns monologue's going to be in every one of his matches. Because there will always be one. And it was one thing when there were no fans there, and it's another thing when that's almost a third of what his matches are consisting of. I'm not saying he isn't great at it, but it's getting a little, and we've mentioned it before, it's getting a little predictable when Roman Reigns is just going to start talking smack. As was mentioned, the spear degree is still a little weird. The outside spear that Roman Reigns gave should have had way more sell time than they gave it. Because they just did that spear and then, right back up and right back in. And the referee's count was only at 3. And I was like, if you're going to milk for time, why not milk it there? Milk it where it makes sense to milk it. Not just walking around and this. And then we get into this guillotine, right? And my biggest issue with this whole thing, I didn't mind the finish. I didn't mind the disqualification. My issue with this is that if Seth Rollins had reached up and then grabbed that rope, instead of it just looking like Charles Robinson just threw his hand on the rope and then disqualified Roman Reigns. Because that made it look like Charles Robinson was the one who was trying to get the heat.
Yeah, I agree with that. It did look very strange.
I think that's what hurt this the most. And then, like this whole thing with the afters just took so long because there was no referees, there's no security. I guess Seth Rollins has no friends at all. His wife doesn't seem to give a shit because she's facing Dewdrop. There's no real drama here because it's just Roman Reigns looking around, waiting. Chair shot. Anyone coming to help? Nope.
During these chair shots were the most nauseating they've ever been. The zoom ins.
It was...
I was getting dizzy.
It was just, I thought that the bad form, I wouldn't mind the attack here and the afters of this if they had got in and got out with it. And they had hit him with the shield one, he hit him 3 or 4 more times, and then people start coming in, the security, hell, maybe even some baby faces who aren't being used on the show who are going to be tossed out later, and then Roman Reigns has to leave. And everyone's in shock of what he's done. How could somebody do something like that to Seth Rollins? But instead, we get this massively long, just milked horribly. Whatever could have been gained from this matchup was killed by the bad formatting.
I will make a counter to one of your points, but not all of them. Because Seth Rollins is a heel, and I think he still is a heel treated on that roster, it's just a heel program. No one likes Seth Rollins, and that's a legitimate thing. So no one was going to help him from the roster side, the wrestler side. I agree that some officials should have gotten. I also agree that Roman Reigns takes forever to do it. He went to the Triple H school of storytelling, that's for sure.
And Triple H got a mention in this match with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, and I was like, almost had a little glimmer of hope, like a twinkle in the eye, but then nothing happened later.
Did it seem kind of like Jon Moxley's going to show up at any point to stop this?
Well, that would have been way too smart for WWE to actually do.
I know that's never going to happen, but AEW, WWE, collaborate, please.
I don't think AEW... I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't think AEW can afford the rub. Because I think that would hurt them.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on this match before we get to Byron's man in the yellow hat suit from Curious George?
One last thing. When I was first watching this live, the second they rung the bell for the match to start, my internet went out, and I had a colossal temper tantrum, the likes of which humankind has not seen in years.
Well, it's a shame we don't have an internet sponsor.
You don't.
NordVPN, where you at?
He's off with... Oh, no, I can't say that. I'm not going to knock us. We're doing great. We're doing better than this show. Well, so then we get Byron Sexton's man in the yellow hat from Curious George suit. And we move on to the women's rumble. I don't even know where to start with this. Okay, I do tell you where I'm going to start with this, and I will reveal myself to you in the world. And even if you were not a member of this type of, for those people who like that kind of thing, it's the kind of thing that people like. The first 3 words that I put down for this women's rumble were time for weed.
And we still love you for it.
Thank you.
The Court-Martail podcast is 420 friendly.
And it did not help.
Oh, then that means you were smoking some really weak weed.
No, that means this match was that incomparably bad. Please.
You want to know something else? I complained about my internet connection at the beginning of the Roman Seth match. Once I got things fixed, I was able to rewind it and watch the whole thing. My internet went out 3 times during the Women's Rumble match.
Oh my God.
If anything,
poor blood pressure.
If anything, the internet was trying to save you from having to watch this show.
Yeah, seriously.
Probably.
It was trying to do you a favor.
This was so bad. And you said it in our chat. This match was designed to aggravate my blood pressure.
Yeah.
So, I have 2 questions for you that's going to tell you the difference between the men's rumble and the women's rumble in a nutshell. How many people in the men's rumble were not a part of the Raw or SmackDown rosters?
We have Johnny Knoxville for God knows what reason.
Yeah, because they advertised it because of a movie promo.
Hold on. I'm not going to have you guys reveal that. I'm just going to say 3, okay?
About 3.
Okay.
How many were in the women?
More than half.
14.
Wow.
I counted it. 14 wrestlers who are not part-time wrestlers or retired wrestlers or free agents or whatever.
Yep.
The Raw and SmackDown women's divisions are paper thin, and the fact of the matter is that they do not have the talent to put on a match like this without having so many people return to get a paycheck. And that's the biggest problem with the Women's Rumble and why they shouldn't have it. I love equal opportunity for women, but if you can't do it right, you shouldn't do it at all because it exposed a lot of bad things about the women. And with this match in particular, there were so many botches that just kept going on and on and on.
I think
I lost count.
The ratio of botches to successful moves, I'd say, was even at best.
No, the
That's
women's
awfully
were
generous.
worse. The women's was worse.
No, that's what I'm saying.
because-
In the Women's Rumble, the average of successfully completed moves to botches was about even.
Right, to be fair, the men's also had a couple of botches, but the women in particular, oof.
Yeah. I mean, the terrible Bulldog sell from Tamina. The first four alone, I said, this is a condemnation. This, and it really was. Kelly's Prada.
That was not Kelly. That she looked like Carmella.
That's what we all said. That's not Kelly. Her face was bronze and her hair was different.
It's so bizarre. She looked like an alien.
But that
I know.
and that Hurricanrana was definitely out of this world.
Oh my god.
'Cause I couldn't breathe. I was wheezing so hard watching that Hurricanrana, and I was like, "Oh man, this ain't gonna get better, is it?"
Why did they?
In
let
comes
Tamina
Liv
stay
Morgan.
in there for so long?
Tamina was only there for 16 minutes. It wasn't that bad. Liv Morgan was in there for 37 minutes.
Oh god.
Liv Morgan. Oh, and also we have to pop in just a little teeny tiny news segment. Roll it. Coming straight to you from the Golden Gate Garage, this is the Wrestle News with Skylar Green. All right, this just in. Loud screaming short girl who sucks at wrestling doesn't get over.
Hold on, are you talking about Sasha Banks?
Pick one.
No, hold on. Can we talk about something real quickly? I know Sasha Banks, she's a big star. She's one of the horsewomen. She's supposed to be one of these big-time women. She was treated like shit in this match. She comes out number one. She eliminates Melina, which, thanks for coming, Melina.
Yeah, without even like doing any moves. It was literally just splits, and then she was Splitsville.
And
Not
then
to
she
mention
started
that-
pumping the canvas.
I mean, you enjoyed that, so I'm not gonna... But then Sasha Banks gets eliminated by Zelina Vega, of all people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I heard something like, maybe this will build to a Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Zelina and Carmella match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. I'm like, dear God.
Well, you know what was so confusing to me about this is that I thought that they had a really, really, really good opportunity, especially considering who was coming immediately after, to have a moment that would tie to last year's WrestleMania, because out next was Bianca Belair. Why would you eliminate Sasha Banks before you bring out Bianca Belair so those two can have a stare down from when they main evented WrestleMania a year ago? Why would you do that?
Because WWE wanted to get us through this match as fast as they could.
It was like WWE was trying to kill every storyline that they possibly could have gone with to head into WrestleMania that made any sort of sense on this show. I will have more examples as we go along.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that you could have had the whole Bianca and Sasha Banks fighting each other, and then as they're fighting, Zelina capitalizes and eliminates Sasha, if you wanted to do it that way.
Anything.
I have a question. And this ties into my biggest problem with this match. How is this Rumble, this Women's Rumble, different from the previous Women's Rumble or the one before that? It was the exact same match, minus a few different people.
It's different for one reason, but we'll get to that when we get to the end of the Rumble,
It
okay?
feels the exact same.
No, Joshua, we'll get to it when we get to the end of this Rumble. We still have a long way to go, okay?
Oh,
I mean,
we will.
There were a couple things different here, but this is my realization I had with this Rumble. A lot of these women do not know how to scale over the top rope. Whether it's they're too small, whether it's they just can't manage to hit up and over, whether they've never been taught it, which I sincerely doubt. But a lot of these women do not know how to go over the top rope. If you notice all the men, even the dumb ones, they don't know how to go over the top rope. The women do not. And this was the first time I've ever been really taken by the size difference and how that could actually make a difference in how the presentation of a match is. And it kind of feels like the girl struggling to go over the top rope really takes a hinder off how this match functions.
Another issue with this particular match is that the women, the way they kept coming in and the way they looked, half of them were dressed in lingerie. And it's just, am I supposed to be watching a wrestling show or a Victoria's Secret model catalog?
Hey, this whole Rumble was about Attitude Era nostalgia pops. Literally. That was the only leg that this Rumble had to stand on.
But I will say there was one good thing. There was one good thing in this Rumble.
Well, we're still not there yet. We're still not there yet. We get Bianca. We get Dana Brooke. Michelle McCool.
Now why?
To fill out the roster, okay, Joshua?
How does she still have a job? Her
Hold on.
Blonde. It's silver.
Hold on. We get Sonya Deville, who goes to commentary.
Hey, now, before we continue, I'm glad you mentioned Sonya Deville. I gotta tell you something. I like Sonya Deville now more than I did before. Because of this Rumble. This is one of the redeeming qualities of the Rumble. First of all, Sonya got a job title. After years of wondering what she did on this show, she finally has a job title. She is a WWE official.
When that is your silver lining, you know that you've hit rock bottom.
But to be fair, she was getting heel boos. She was getting a reaction for the stuff she was doing with Naomi. As much as I hated what that involved and what that entailed, at the same time, she still got heat when she eliminated Naomi from trying to do the save. And Sonya,
I wonder why I was the only person that cheered when Naomi was eliminated. That's funny.
And Sonya, the only thing I don't like is that she's another heel authority figure. But she's doing all right with it. She's honestly doing all right.
Got rid of Cameron.
Yes.
Cameron did not look terrible. She did 3 moves without screwing anything up, which is more than I would ever give her credit for.
That is an improvement.
Yes.
Now, I have a new segment on this.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
I have a new segment on this show, and this is going to be a stealing of a meme and using it for our purposes. So, are both of you familiar with the emotional damage meme that's been circulating around?
Circular. I'm the circular rated R superstar.
That's right.
Anyways, continue, Sean.
So, now, because we got Jimmy Smith, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton for 4 consecutive matches.
Nightmare fuel.
4 of them. 4 matches with these assholes. So now,
Sean turning in the Macho Man real quickly.
So now,
John's going Super Saiyan.
Anytime that they're starting to complain at each other, I just got this. Commentary squabbling. And that's all they're doing. It's just squabbling at each other. Took away from it every time they did it. Natalya is just filler at this point.
Yep.
She's one of the veterans of the roster, which is sad.
But I will also say she had my favorite moment in this matchup. And we'll get to that shortly. Remember when Natty and Tamina were a thing? Just a short year ago? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Carmella's mask is weird.
It was definitely... Oh, Corey simping caused me so much pain.
I was going to say, this was Sean's favorite part of the match.
Joshua.
Because he, amped it up in this matchup. He, went next level. Literally when Vince McMahon was to Shawn Michaels when he'd come out in 95, it's like, oh, yeah! Oh, my God! It's Carmella! And oh, my God. It was terrible. I hated it.
Actually reminded me when Vince McMahon had Trish Stratus dance for him on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, that's literally what it was getting to. And
legitimately, Joshua, you didn't see this part because your internet went out, right?
No, I actually started rewind. I saw the entire Rumble. I just had to keep rewinding.
Okay, so you saw the part where Carmella walks over to Corey and just stands in front of him with her ass facing his face?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
And Pigtails.
Thank you, Rhea Ripley, by the way. Thank you.
Thanks, Rhea Ripley.
Who I was
dumbass babyface. Rhea Ripley made me so mad in this match. She came down with an unfortunate case of dumbass babyface-itis multiple times in the match, but we'll get to that.
She did, and somehow she survived until the final 5, which I knew was just going to hurt me. Aaliyah's wedgie was more exciting than this matchup.
Who?
Exactly.
Oh.
But I do...
Then Charlotte comes out.
Yay.
And then
Ivory.
this... Why, though? Why, though? Why any of that, though?
Because it was funny.
Was it?
Yes.
Was it?
Now, here's the thing. It's WWE humor. It's not my humor, but it's WWE's humor.
Well... Well, then... Brie Bella gets a pop.
She only got a pop because of her husband.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, still coasting off of the popularity of her husband, even when he's in an entirely different company.
And then we get hardcore country, and that was like my favorite part of the match. I was like, hey.
That was the only good thing in this entire match.
Well, the fact that we got hardcore country and she had the belt.
Yes, and they not only that, she had the belt, and on her like name card it said Impact Knockouts Champion, and that blew my mind.
Yeah. I was like, wow, things really have changed.
Yeah. This company's actually dying.
And
you know.
And I liked what Michelle McCool and Mickie James did as far as like going back. I liked that interaction. Probably wouldn't hate to see a match between those two at this point, given the rest.
It would be a good match in comparison to what they have to work with on the roster.
Yeah, and then, Alicia Fox.
WWE
Crazy like a fox.
And the word legend was thrown around way too gratuitously in this matchup.
WWE legend Summer Rae.
Oh, God. Who looked like she got too many Summer Rays, and so her skin became too leathery.
Skin cancer, also known as Summer Rae.
And then
that's Nikki Ash's costume.
And then we had that weird thing with Mighty Molly and Nikki.
No, we're not there yet.
But
Nikki Bella came out and she got a pop.
And Nikki pulled off a spine buster, which was nasty. She was a good spine buster. I'm like, oh damn! I was like, was not ready for that.
Let's be clear, Brie Bella is not great. Nikki, I would like to see more of.
Nikki could work a little bit.
I'm over both of them.
And then Sarah,
for about a decade now.
And then Sarah Logan, because we had to get more Riot Squad members.
Yeah, I can feel this is when I can feel Sean's blood pressure increasing.
But then they both got eliminated, so that was great. By the Bellas of all people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Lita gets a huge pop. And, I liked that clever DDT elimination, but I wish it wasn't Mickie James she did it on. I wish it was some other schlub.
Selling that was awful. I love Mickie James, but she did not sell that DDT at all.
No, not really. But
also, I wish they would stop bringing back Lita. It's like watching Lita except at half speed. She is in slow-mo.
I said I love Lita, but she just doesn't look that good anymore. And
then Mighty Molly.
And then, of course, Nikki Ash had to go and fight her because I'm the only superhero around here. And,
Nikki, a stupid human.
Yes. It's,
And then, number 28, everybody's favorite male-female Goldberg, Ronda Rousey.
Batten down the hatches, we have an emergency. Sean's gonna kill us all.
Well, you already heard from last week, for those loyal Court-Martail podcast listeners, my opinions on Ronda Rousey. I think there's no disputing how I've made them very abundantly clear, have I not? And I wouldn't have even been upset if she came in here and actually looked like a beast, but the only beast that she looked like was Bastion Booger.
She was horrendous.
She was worse than Tamina.
She was the worst person in the entire match.
Because she hasn't done a damn bit of wrestling since she's left. And then expected to
not
be...
even wrestling. She hasn't looked like she's done any fighting.
Working out.
Like she was dressed like a mom. She looked pudgy. She could not throw a punch worth a damn. She made Shane McMahon's punches look good. You should not be making Shane McMahon's punches look good.
Those punches offended me greatly.
They were actually the worst. And you know what? Good. I hope that she stays this way, and then the public opinion of her tanks, and then she goes and cries, and we never see her again. That'd be great.
Well, here's the thing. People are already shitting on her. People legitimately hated the fact that Ronda was even in this match and the way that she was working because she sucked.
Yeah.
Not even joking. When her music, like, I thought it was just a rumor. I wasn't sure that she was going to be in the match. And not even joking. Before the 10 count showed up on the screen, I said, I really hope that Ronda's not in this match. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ronda's music hits. And I'm not even joking. I started wheezing. I was laughing so hard. And then she won, and it made me laugh even harder.
Well, we get Shotzi next, and then Shayna Baszler. And waste of Shayna Baszler.
Shotzi is a fart in hair color and in crowd reaction.
Yep. And in personality.
And, man, this just... But here's the best part, right? They did this whole thing when Ronda Rousey comes out, and every single woman goes and turns to see her show up, except for Natalya, who just keeps wailing on Bianca Belair in the corner. She don't give a damn. She's trying to win this thing. She's not worried about Ronda Rousey at all. And I'm like, good for you, Natalya. You keep that hope alive. It was wonderful. I'm like, go Natalya. Way not to care that Ronda Rousey showed up.
Brie Bella is so stupid for eliminating her sister. When you're wrestling against Ronda Rousey, work together, damn it.
Oh my God, you touched me. Slap.
Known for their brains. In what universe are the Bellas known for their brains?
If only she had died in the womb. Anyways.
What a throwback.
Yeah, well, speaking of throwing back, then we get a camera angle where Charlotte's implants be bustin'.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, oh no. And then
Andrade's not going to be happy about that.
Then it came down to Charlotte and Ronda, and I just could not give a single shit.
I was laughing. Not even joking.
I couldn't care. I could not possibly care. And then Ronda won, which, and you know, what redeeming quality was there of this matchup? Somebody, anybody, please tell me what the redeeming quality of this match was.
Mickey James Hardcore
showing
Country Impact Knockouts Champion. That's literally it.
So when Impact is the best part of a WWE matchup, are you doing your job if you were the WWE?
No.
This was an absolute abominable snowman, a goose egg that was not golden, just a regular old goose egg, and they poop green. And I know that because I've stepped in plenty of goose shit, and that's exactly what this matchup was.
Where are you going with this, Sean?
I don't know. I'm just angry, and I'm lashing out.
Hold on. Can we stop for a second? So let me tell you why last year's Rumble was better than this one. And actually, let me give you a little bit of context. Are you ready, Joshua?
Go ahead.
Okay. Do you know that Bianca Belair is the Iron Woman for the Women's Rumbles? Because in 2020, she started at number 2, went for 33 minutes, had 8 eliminations. Then last year, she started at number 3, went 56 minutes, had 4 eliminations, and that was on the way to building her up to eventually wrestle against Sasha Banks in the main event of WrestleMania for the women's title. Whether or not that story was great or not, it was milquetoast. But it built to a legitimate moment and was built to make Bianca Belair a star. Can we agree with that?
Yes.
Huh?
Tentatively,
but she still felt important. In this match, she started number 8, went 47 minutes. Bianca Belair has been made by the Royal Rumble. Having said that, the audacity of WWE to bury their current women's roster in the service of a woman who was a legitimate star in UFC until she bitched out and couldn't perform under pressure, until she bought into her own hype and got beat by someone that she shouldn't have lost to because she wasn't taking it seriously, and then she went up against legitimately the greatest fighter in the world and took it not seriously at all. I'm talking about her losses to Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes. And then she goes and she cries to Ellen about how she's felt so bad afterwards, and the fans treated her like shit, and she was going to kill herself. And then she comes to WWE. She gets everything handed to her on a silver fucking platter. To be great, she was going to be wrestling with Triple H and Stephanie and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. And then she gets the championship way too early. She hates the fans because she can't deal with the pressure or the boomness. So she starts turning on them, except she takes a shit on this business and the fans and the workers that are part of this business. And WWE continues to push this woman, despite the fact that they have talented women on that roster who work their asses off every single day to make it to their dreams, but Ronda Rousey just comes in, takes it because they get numbers. Ronda Rousey is the most disrespectful bitch in the history of the wrestling business. Ronda, for real, you can fuck off.
That is the ultimate indictment from Skylar Greenberg. When Skylar says you can fuck off, that's like Gordon Ramsay telling you that you're shit at cooking.
She is the female Goldberg. Except I think she's worse because Goldberg was a star in the 90s. He treated wrestling somewhat with respect. He never shit on the fans or the workers. Ronda Rousey is one of the most... the fact that the WrestleMania sign caught fire where their pyro went on tells you all you need to know about this match.
That was funny.
Yes.
That was funny.
Yeah, no, I got nothing to add to that. I mean, like I said, this is just basically Skylar's turn to scream about Ronda Rousey because it's
Yeah.
Except I'm not afraid to yell because I think I could take Ronda Rousey in a fight.
Well, it would have been one thing if Ronda came back and she looked in shape and she started doing the moves the way that she did before, and that she really, she laid in the punches the way that she used to lay in the punches, and she looked like an athlete. But she looked like mom bod Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. It's that, like, how could you give that championship opportunity to somebody like that? And personally, I thought what WWE should have done going into this was have Bianca win it. Because when was the last time that a WWE wrestler won the Rumble back-to-back years?
Stone Cold.
Yeah. And I think this would have been the perfect opportunity. You want to keep doing hey, look at the first ever time that we've done first ever things. Isn't it great to be first ever time for first everything, everybody? First time? Huh?
Yeah.
There's your opportunity. Bianca wins it twice. And then if you want to screw her over and have Ronda beat her at the Chamber, then do that. But don't do it here. Don't do it when, like you said, Sky, Bianca really MVPing the Rumbles. This would have been a perfect way to capitalize more on her strengths, especially because she was so valuable to how this Rumble went, good or bad, but she was one of the highlights of it just because of how good that she really is. But instead, we got this. A big, steeping, double D pile of dumpster fire.
Long story short, closing thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble 2022. Ronda sucks, go Impact.
Go Impact. We're gonna have to do the WWE releases song for the three of us because we're all gonna go watch Impact instead.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that.
Well,
Fuck that. No, I'm not watching damn Moose.
Well, instead.
By the way, I have
loose in the caboose.
I do have one more note about this Rumble. It applies to the men's one, but I want to put it here. A lot of these wrestlers, specifically with the women, their theme songs suck. All of them, except for the Jim Johnson or CFO ones, feel really fucking generic, just basic rock or pop sounds from a computer. And really, that's a crying shame because they need better music. Maybe they could get some better music from someone like Abizzle and White Knux. Isn't that right, Sean?
It's funny that you say that because oftentimes when I listen to a Royal Rumble and I don't want to hear the commentary squabbling of Corey Graves and the man in the yellow hat Byron Saxton who's got a monkey in his house doing all the monkey business, baby. And when I don't want to be like Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, I listen to a duo who have dulcet tones and effervescent awakening thoughts that would make your mind contemplative of the very core essentials of life itself. And the only way you're gonna understand what the hell I'm talking about is if you follow the new era in entertainment, which has arrived. AB Production CT is proud to drag you out of the superficial monotony and overproduced, oversimplified modern musical mud pit with two industry-busting but not gut-busting artists slowly taking the world by storm. Abizzle and White Knux deliver an avant-garde approach to music that blends elements and instruments of a wide number of musical styles, including the hippity-hop, R&B, jazz, funk, rock, house, EDM, and so much more. It is high time for the music industry to be shaken to its core, so come be a part of the foundation-breaking movement by supporting aspiring artists, and right now, you can catch the latest release, the WAXAPOCALYPSE. You guys were saying, well, what's the difference between last year's Rumble and this year's Rumble? Well, the WAXAPOCALYPSE has happened, and everything's sticky, and nobody knows how to get themselves unglued. It is a 32-track album that took 2 years to come together. A saga of a lifetime awaits your eager ears. Look for Abizzle, spelled Abizzle, or White Knux, spelled Whiteknux, on SoundCloud, Apple Music, and Spotify for this and the entire AB Production CT discography of over 100 songs and projects, including Retreat, Mixed Bag, Versus from a College Grad, Bare Min, and my personal recommendation after you hear a horrible, horrible night of professional wrestling, Recovering, and many more. All just a short click away. Link in the description. Come join the entertainment revolution with AB Productions CT.
Bitch, I'm always sticky.
That's
Okay,
that's right. And you could get even stickier if you listen to WAXAPOCALYPSE, but probably not the way that he's talking about. Moving right along. Moving right along. Speaking of what would you call, Josh, again, let me ask you a question. What would you call a small volume of wax that appears first thing in the morning on the grass?
Wax grass?
Amazing. And that is why I love my co-hosts. Well, if a lot of people, I don't know whether you two know this, but over here on the East Coast, some of us refer to wax as dew. And if there's some on the grass in the morning, then that means that there's a dewdrop, and this transition has gone so off the rails. It is Becky Lynch versus Dewdrop for the Raw Women's Championship.
That was bad. Like, I got nothing for this one.
What you guys think of the match?
Help rest my poor soul.
So, a little bit of a thing here. Before we talk about this match, as I mentioned in the last one, in the Rumble, Sean loses his mind. Sean, you good, man?
I'm sorry, that was just too funny. Because, you ever have that realization halfway through saying something like, I've made a terrible mistake? And
every moment of my life.
Give you credit, you powered through it.
I did. I want to commit to the bit. Commit to the bit. I'm sorry, Skylar. Go ahead.
So, as I mentioned in the last match, when they set off the pyro for Ronda's victory, it actually set the WrestleMania sign on fire that they always point to. And apparently, there was flaming plastic and metal that was falling down and onto fans' heads. So they had to evacuate that area and then lower the sign and put it out while they were doing this match between Becky Lynch and Dewdrop. And that pretty much also signifies how this match went, because it was the death slot.
This company is legitimately hazardous, like literally hazardous to its own fans' health.
And the thing is that for the rest of the show, there were no fans that were sitting underneath that sign because they knew that when the main event came,
chances were.
Again.
Yeah.
Before we talk about this match, let me just make a quick note. My fiance was with me while I was watching the show. And she knows nothing about wrestling. It's not her thing. But she did notice something during this match. Just randomly, she said aloud to me, "Why do the commentators keep talking over each other? I can't understand what they're saying." What does that tell you?
Commentary squabbling.
My God. My fiance, Andy, who just the most casual you can get as far as wrestling, her first thing is she complains about the commentary.
Rightfully so. Because it was
Who are
awful.
you making the show for?
Vince
Sponsors
McMahon.
and Streaming services. I answered my own question. Also, this match was but it was in front of a tired crowd, so it just felt
This wasn't a bad match. It was just in the death slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
It's just the only issue. I didn't really have much to say about this match. That whiff from I'm gonna call her Piper Niven. That's how I wrote down the whole thing. Niven doing that cannonball into the steel steps and her landing on her head and neck looked nasty.
Yes, I did notice that.
Did we get a collar and elbow tie-up in this match?
No, but I'm going to say that it makes sense because Becky Lynch is not going to call her an elbow tie up to a drop.
You are correct, sir.
Does that sound mean I'm correct?
You know, it wasn't even related, but I'm going to use it.
That was perfect.
All right, so we have 1/2 out of 3 matches.
All right, Sean.
But one of them's a Rumble. You're not going to have collar and elbow
It
ties
counts.
in a Rumble.
It counts. Well, sometimes you do.
You start with 2 people.
Yeah, sometimes you do. We just did not.
But
Fine.
Sean, you know how your biggest issue with WWE as of now, aside from lazy booking, is the production?
Yes, bad formatting. Hashtag bad formatting.
The formatting in this match really got on my nerves because there was a point where Piper Niven hit a pretty nasty looking senton on Becky Lynch. And they showed slow-mo replay after slow-mo replay after slow-mo replay while Becky Lynch was putting her finishing move on Piper Niven in the upper left-hand corner of the screen while they were still focusing on the slow-mo senton we've already seen several times.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
Kevin Dunn his job.
And Becky got the knees up to avoid the Vader bomb, but that felt like, to me, that would hurt Becky more than Piper.
Agreed.
More commentary squabbling. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't super impressed by Piper Niven here, but I know that she has had better work when better booked in the past. So I'm not indicting her. I wasn't impressed with the watered down version of her that every main roster superstar inevitably has to be.
And if you want to see a non-watered down, a non-goofy dewdrop version of Piper Niven, log on to SWCG where we actually used Piper Niven correctly. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. SWCG.
It's a shameful fame. Lobster head. Okay.
Oh my god. Down he comes. Well, we got him later on, but in any case...
I get what you mean about Piper Niven feeling watered down. This is not her best work, but it was good enough for the match they were trying to do. Had they been in front of an audience that actually had energy, maybe it would have been better. At least Piper Niven's better than Nia Jax.
True. Definitely true. Safer, obviously. But then, it was things like doing the top rope leg drop where she's just expected to just stay on that middle rope and wait for Becky to get her ass up there and do the leg drop. I was like, that looks so contrived. And then this match just started going long, and the fans just didn't care.
I'm going to make a statement that I don't know if it's controversial or not, but I think I should make it anyway. Becky Lynch is no longer among the top 10 best female wrestlers in WWE. She has regressed badly. It feels like she's kind of done the Rock thing, where she got so over because of her charisma that she forgot how to wrestle a little bit. She doesn't look as smooth or fluid anymore.
Well, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that, but then again, bad formatting. If Becky is so afraid of Piper Niven, which was the story of this whole match, why is it she didn't cheat?
Because WWE told her not to cheat.
Because WWE are morons.
Yep.
They are morons. This is basics. This is 101. This is the stuff you pick up when you're 6 years old watching the shit. This was so simple. And then they pin Piper Niven clean. With a top rope manhandle slam.
Super manhandle slam, Sean.
It's a super rock bottom because we're not using that goddamn stupid name.
Superman handle slam, Sean.
Joshua, I will have to fly to South Carolina and choke you out myself.
Oh god.
Before I die.
It was terrible. They pinned Niven clean. And I was like, wow, amazing. And again, most of the rest of this match was okay. But then their formatting kills it. Every good thing that this program had going for it, which there was actually more than you would have expected going into it, but then you start looking at how they could do a lot of things. There was a lot of potential for this show, and it was like every time that they had anything going, they either decided overtly not to do it, or the formatting killed it. It was just non-stop barrage of just middle fingers. I just kept getting hit by my fingers in my cheeks. And I was like, oh no, what's this? I was like beat up by it. I might have a black eye because a middle finger hit me in the eye like at hour 3.5. And this was just another one of those things. If you've got somebody that big, why are you having her beaten clean to Becky Lynch when you still need to build her up? God damn it.
It's okay, Sean. This is me patting you on the shoulder. It'll be okay. We'll make it through this.
That better be all your patents, sir.
Well, you caught me there. I'm still waiting on Skylar to come and choke me.
You're trying to make this a three-way, man, and you really should not be, okay? And I'm not going to choke you in the good way.
You got me at three-way.
Well, thank God there weren't any triple threat matches on this show. That would have only made it worse. Trying to steer this back around to wrestling. Any last thoughts on this match between Becky Lynch and Piper Niven? I'm not going to call her name.
Would that make a Royal Rumble a 30-way?
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Well, not all 30 people are in the ring at the same time, so no. Again, I am coming down on Becky Lynch because I think she's overrated at this point. She's a character, and I know there's a difference between the word gimmick and character, and I'm using that on purpose. She's a character. She's almost a caricature, if anything. It's just...
Yeah, I see your point.
She used to.
Yeah. No, she ain't the man anymore, which is why Rick is so adamant about trying to get the rights back. But in any case, then we moved on to one of the best parts of the show. If there's any redeeming quality here, it's this. It is the WWE Championship match, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, the dream match. And I thought this hype package was tremendous.
Agreed.
The best part of this show.
I wanted to rewind this hype video because it was so good.
They presented this like a sports competition. And I'm like, whoa, okay, now I really do want to see this matchup. And they didn't do anything that was over gimmicky. They didn't do anything that was over cartoonish. They didn't do anything even sports entertainment. This could have been a hype to a UFC fight, and you would still believe just as viably about the two competitors and want to see the matchup. That's how good this package was. If they did this kind of package for everybody, this show would be even just a fraction more palatable.
Another thing that I liked about this match, and specifically with Jimmy Smith, is that because he's worked mixed martial arts, he's worked for Bellator and UFC, he's seeing both Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar fight. So he's familiar with both, and he sold us on the idea that this was big-time fight feel.
Yeah, and Jimmy did a good job here, and then, commentary squabbling. Again. And
can they stop with the three-man booths? I'm tired of the three-man booths.
Get rid of Corey Graves, specifically. I can handle Byron Saxton. Byron Saxton by himself is not a problem. Corey Graves specifically has to go. I've had enough of him. The funny part is that
Corey Graves supposedly is trying to get cleared so he can wrestle again.
Good!
Please
Good!
Do.
Get him off of commentary.
Please.
Get him off of
Corey
commentary.
Graves and Carmella versus Edge and Beth Phoenix.
Fine.
No!
Don't care.
Dare, Skyler.
Don't care. Honestly, don't care. So long as he's off commentary. He can wrestle as much as he wants.
Miz and Maurice versus Corey Graves, Carmella versus Edge and Beth Phoenix.
Sure. Whatever. If he's off commentary, let him wrestle his cute little heart out. And now, did we get a collar and elbow tie-up in this matchup?
Yes, we
multiple.
did.
We got multiple, and they were huge, and they were fantastic, so I gave them 2 points, because they were big.
By the way, Paul Heyman is a genius. I love him doing his Brock Lesnar intro.
Yeah, just shoving Mike Rowe, I think his name is.
It is.
The only thing I would have wished is I wish that we had allowed. I wish that almost that they had done Brock first, so that MVP could then, once Mike Rome takes the mic back, MVP goes and takes the microphone away from Rome again and goes, "Now listen here, you are about to witness the greatest destruction of an entity since the Titans were beaten by the gods in Greece, because the Almighty is about to take down the Beast, because the Beast has been ducking the Almighty for 20 years. And it comes to an end today. So as many times as you say with your words that you're about to say, what you were about to witness is pure greatness." You know, give him something. Why was MVP not in this? Why did
That would've been great.
Why did Heyman and MVP have no interaction this whole feud?
Because WWE
Explain
likes
this.
to piss off a good thing.
Sizzle, not steak.
Yeah.
Sizzle, not steak.
Well, I really wish that there had been a lot more steak, because there was a lot of meat here, and it was bumping. And
But the problem, here's the thing. I have a criticism of this match. This is every Brock Lesnar match that I've seen since he squashed John Cena all those years ago. I am tired of the Brock Lesnar match formula. It is stupid and tiring and never changes.
I understand the sentiment, but in this case, I don't hate this because it's Bobby Lashley, and I thought Bobby Lashley sold this like a champ.
Agreed.
Bobby Lashley sold this like, oh my God.
As annoying as the Germans may be, these Germans that he was given to Bobby were absolutely brutal looking. Like, he landed on his knee every time, except for that one weird one where he landed on his face.
Yeah, and in all fairness, I loved the trading Germans at the beginning. Like, it's a fair criticism. It's totally a fair criticism, because it is a Brock Lesnar formula match. But in the defense of this match, there was some stuff that was really nice about this. Like, all it took for Bobby Lashley to be established as the heel in this matchup was the fact that he threw a punch first. That was it. And then he got boozed just for punching, then got the 2 spears, and then, of course, the barricade spot, which we have to get all the time. Did Brock have a mole on his nose?
No, he was busted open somehow.
He was busted open by that first punch that... No, it wasn't even a punch. He was bleeding on the way to the ring.
Oh. Yeah. I was like, what? Where did that come from? And then, but...
Probably because he was cutting down trees outside the arena.
The other thing, too, though, is that Bobby Lashley, he kept biting his lip, and he started bleeding a little bit from his lips. So we got a little bit of juice.
Yeah. Hey, no, I appreciated that. And then the Hurt Lock, which Brock never was able to get out of. Appreciate that a lot. Because it took...
Well, he got out of it, but without breaking it.
Right. Which, again, I thought that that's where they were going to go with that. Where they were going to have Brock break it. And I'm really thankful they didn't do that. Instead, they got the Hurt Lock in, and then the first ref bump, and then the second ref bump, and then...
One thing I do like is that they did protect the F5, because Brock only did it once in this match.
Right. Also helpful. Also very helpful. And then Roman Reigns shows up. And I loved this interaction, but once again, the formatting
Ever
killed this. Because it took too damn long.
And I'm sorry, but I'm at the point where, like, the second he hit him and the second he left the ring, there was already another referee in the ring.
Yep.
It's way too contrived.
Yep.
How did Roman know that there was going to be a ref bump?
Yeah.
Because wrestling.
He should have come down, like, on the apron, like, or, like, on the ramp as the match was underway.
Yep. It's just, again, it's that kind of thing. It's just the basics. When they're killing these things with the basics. It's painful. It is painful to go through this. Because this match, by all other accounts, was terrific.
And the thing about it is that I'm happy at the result. This is the one match.
Me too.
At the result, I'm happy with. Because Bobby Lashley deserved to have another WWE title reign, and he got it.
Yes, agreed.
Totally agreed.
But there's one problem with this particular result, and it overshadows it, and that is the fact that this entire show was building towards Roman versus Brock, and that's not a bad thing. But the way they went about it was
a bad thing.
Exactly. It's just they kept. This is we'll talk about it in the men's rumble when we get there. But this story of Roman and Brock ruined the men's rumble.
Correct. 100%
Well, you
correct.
mean you don't like that Bobby Lashley won the Super Intercontinental Championship?
Exactly, because that's the thing. It relegates the WWE title to being the second banana, which if you're a real company, you had 2 world championships. First, you wouldn't have 2 world championships. Secondly, if you did have 2 world championships, you would present them as equals. Maybe sometimes one is better than the other, depending on the champion, but they're equal titles. Not on this day.
Not
and
on
not
this
for
day.
several years now.
Not since Roman won belts.
Well, and now...
the Universal belt. The one that Joshua made a video about hating.
Yes. Yes, if you want to take a look at that, that is a thing that exists.
That's a year and a half ago. I'm getting old. I'm going to die.
Aren't we all? And I thought that this show was going to die because we only had one match left, and it was the Men's Rumble. Oh, no. Oh, no. We had another. It is... Fuck.
Oh, God.
It is the It couple, The Miz and Maurice, versus the Grit couple, Edge and Beth, and they didn't even add butter and cheese into it and stir it around so it's nice and thick and creamy. It's just plain with salt.
I mean, I can help with the creaminess.
Will you stop?
Well, hold on. May I say something, okay?
Sorry, I had to pull a little Gorilla Monsoon on him right there.
Right, so Edge and Beth Phoenix, I love the color coordination. They're looking like they're coming out for a fight. The Miz, kind of iffy about his gear, but again, he looked like he's going to go for a fight. And Maurice came here looking like she's about to go down on The Miz.
And almost did.
And almost did.
Because that was the first spot of the match.
Okay. I'm going to clap for emphasis, okay? Women, stop wearing goddamn lingerie to wrestle, please.
This is my Vince McMahon impression. No.
You can't stop with lingerie. No, you gotta show it. The fans will love it.
Is that Vince McMahon or Quentin Tarantino?
That is modern day Vince McMahon.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Quentin Tarantino is a little bit of a dipshit. Anyways,
He's getting there. Well, I don't know your beef between y'all. I can't speak about that.
He made Inglourious Bastards and hasn't done anything since.
I haven't seen.
Controversial movie takes out of the way. My first thought on this match was, oh God, I forgot this was a thing.
Yeah.
Same.
Why?
Same.
Yeah. The package was cheesy. Maybe that's why they're called the Grit Couple.
By the way, that was the worst. Why does WWE do this?
We literally went from the best promo package to the worst promo package.
Like, seriously. We get it. The It couple. They cannot help themselves but out-cheese themselves with, we've got the It couple versus the Grit couple. Kill me, please.
Edge is over. Miz is not. Now, I have to concede something. I'm gonna be honest with you folks. I have to concede that I'm gonna just read you the names of the individuals, and I want you to picture these guys in your heads and tell me who doesn't belong in this group of individuals. Okay? Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, Edge, the Miz. Who doesn't belong in those 6 people?
One of these is not like the others. One of these just doesn't belong.
And I had to overtly and concede the fact that given the rest of the male talent we had seen on the show that night, Miz is a good step below. A good step below.
Thank you, kind sir.
And he just... unfortunately, you know, and he's had his moments. There have been times in WWE's history where he has been one of the most interesting things on it, which is, you know, something to be said in and of itself. But at this time, in this moment, he just doesn't belong.
Nope.
I'm sorry. He just doesn't belong. And the only thing that I could seize in this match was Tiggle Bitties. I didn't even care about the rest of the match.
It went on forever. That's about it.
It was the best. Edge's elbow drop looked cool.
Yeah.
I was like, hey. And then Maurice with that Marisa Carana, which was actually kind of surprising. I didn't think she'd do that.
Flatted on the ground with.
Yeah. And then.
Okay.
But it was way too sloppy, too. I mean, all of this was also really sloppy work on top of that as well.
Hold on. Let me ask you guys a question. What did Edge do last year?
He won the Rumble.
The Rumble from 1.
Why wasn't he in the Rumble this year?
Because he was a part of the Gret couple.
Because I love my wife.
No, what's the real reason?
Because I love my wife?
Because CM Punk and the MJF dropped the Miz thing on AEW.
Yeah.
And they have to keep milking it for all it's worth, even though no one cares anymore.
This is also true.
Yeah, I can't dispute that. That's a fair point.
We are wasting Edge and The Miz and Beth Phoenix and Maurice. Let's be honest, okay? Beth Phoenix and Maurice, they could have done this story in the women's match. They could have done the Edge and Miz story in the men's match. This was a waste of everyone's goddamn time and a waste of 4 wrestlers that could have been better used.
But
yep.
But Skylar, I love my wife.
Yes, but we don't need to see you wrestle with your wife. Listen, I get it. You want to tag with your wife, if you're a significant other, great. That's great and all. But we're talking about the main event of WrestleMania. Why not compete for it? Why not wrestle for championships? Because women are forever, but championships, you never know when you get your last one. And Edge has not gotten his last one, except in NWL, and I told that story better, but that's another time for another day.
Well, you didn't have Beth Phoenix come back and call them the Gret couple. What's wrong with you?
Well, I had Beth Phoenix in the audience as Edge won the World Championship.
But were they the Gret couple?
Shut up, Joshua. Shut up. You're about to become the Gone couple, okay?
Hey, what are you dragging me into this for? What are you dragging me into this? I'm just sitting here thinking about things.
I'm going to make Joshua and Andy disappear.
Oh,
here first.
The Great Skydini. Come see the Great Skydini's famous magic trick where he makes Joshua and Andy disappear.
And I choked that bitch out. Anyway.
Oh, Jesus. That's so aggressive. That's so aggressive.
By the way, when I say choke that bitch, I don't mean Andy.
You keep threatening me with a good time, Skylar.
All right, well, then I got my favorite line of Corey Graves tonight. My best line at the end of this match, and he said, "I'm just happy I don't have to work with Byron anymore tonight." Me too. Me too, dude. I'm happy you're fucking done. Go back and go bang your wife. Like that. Don't care.
Girlfriend.
Just get off my television.
Girlfriend.
Just get off my television. And then we get the men's rumble. And I knew this was going to be a disaster when AJ Styles botched throwing his t-shirt into the crowd. That just had the stank of filthy disgust. And
this was the most ho-hum, nothing happened in Royal Rumble I've ever watched.
We were kind of like, you know what? The Women's Rumble sucked, but maybe the men will have a better chance because the men's roster is deeper.
Lol.
We were terribly wrong.
Lol, no.
We have been mistaken.
Yeah. So, we get AJ Styles and Nakamura, which would have felt better if WWE hadn't botched their feud in the balls repeatedly.
All I could think about were testicles.
Reasons you would expect. Yeah, but is that any different from your normal thoughts?
What did I just say, Sean?
Yeah, well, I don't... See, you know what you said.
Give me a second. I'm thinking about testicles again.
Pat McAfee is so jazzed to be calling this matchup. Pat McAfee was the best part of this matchup.
Yeah.
Even when he danced the Shinsuke Nakamura's theme.
Yeah, it's not Pat's fault. Pat's just having a good time. I'm not going to knock him for having a good time and being able to say ass repetitively and hell repetitively and nobody giving a damn. I'm all about Pat McAfee. I love me some Pat McAfee. He's the only person who can make Michael Cole's stereotypical monotone palatable.
And after the last 4 matches, you actually said, "Thank God for Michael Cole."
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever been actually.
When you know.
Yeah, I've never been happier to hear Michael Cole's voice in my life.
Bring back Cole are the takeaways from this show.
Yeah, and then wow. Bobby Roode is irrelevant, and that is tragic.
Gives a mean spine buster, though.
That's not enough. That's not enough.
The despair in your voice.
Here comes Ridge Holland, and then comes one of my favorite moments in the match that made me laugh, is AJ yells as loud as he could, and you know why AJ said this. Are masks legal? Wham! 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 I'm like, oh, AJ, how long were you waiting to say that?
Oh, that was good.
Oh, I was like, wow. That was, well, if there was ever a time to throw it in, I guess it was there.
He does have the farmer strength.
That's right. And then Johnny Knoxville got offense. Johnny Knoxville.
Why?
Johnny Knoxville got offense. His whole thing is to get beat up. Why not just let him get beat up?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I've never seen any Jackass-related anything. It's never interested me, and I will likely never, ever watch any Jackass anything. So from my perspective, this was just pure anguish.
May I make my comments?
Go ahead.
I liked Jackass when I was 10, and it was funny. I'm not a fan of it anymore.
He's nearly 50. He is 50. Why?
Well,
Skylar, when you first said "let me make a comment," I thought you were going to say, "Man, these chicken nuggets taste really good."
Yeah, I was gonna say like you're about to spit into a spittoon. Like, all right, I'm gonna tell you something.
I mean KFC. Thank you.
Oh, I was
No,
close.
you nailed it. You got close. You got close. That is a non-sponsored ad, by the way, and we're not advertising them. That's just what Skylar is currently eating.
NordVPN and KFC, help us.
But
what a waste of Sami Zayn.
yeah.
This dumb feud.
But speaking of fast food sponsors, Michael Cole with his fantastic bring in of I think that was Poopy, Angelo Hawkins. You goddamn idiot.
Literally missing a D.
No, and replacing it with an H, like he's about to come up and talk to us about string theory. And I guarantee you that the only strings that Angelo... Yeah,
that joke was a deep cut.
and the only strings that dude is even aware of are the shoelaces that he chooses not to lace as he comes into the ring. Then here comes Famous Amos coming to clean house. And then they did this whole thing with having AJ take almost over the top rope. And I thought that they were going to actually extend this feud a little.
Nope.
Why would they kill this? This whole thing just made it so that Omos didn't last as long as AJ Styles. Omos should have at least tossed AJ over before he went.
Can I say why?
Because they're stupid?
No.
Because they had like test matches and they were all terrible.
Yeah, exactly. They had one test match at the MSG show like a couple months ago, and it was horrendous. And Omos is way too fucking green to be wrestling AJ Styles, and AJ can't cover up for him. So they nixed the feud because they're like, you know what, we can't do this. And that's why Omos is not on TV. They're working him on TV on house shows to try and get him better so that he can actually do something.
Well, we all knew that he was going to be brought in way before he was ready. And just like every other person...
Braun Strowman would show up and he'd wrestle against Omos.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope, we're not going there. Nope, not going there.
Thankfully, this wasn't that bad. But then, Austin Theory, in the middle of like somebody coming in for an elimination, Austin Theory hits a cradle neck breaker out of nowhere. I was like, oh, dear Lord, that was a major move to not be acknowledged at all.
By the way, can we talk? Hold on, before we even talk anything, Chad Gable is a treasure, helping get rid of Almas.
His comments were hilarious the entire match.
I always liked Chad Gable. Chad Gable is such a good guy. I've always liked Chad Gable.
Chad Gable guns. You don't have to use Shorty G.
Well, I don't have to, but I got a good thing going here.
Are you gonna keep using that name?
Maybe.
Please.
No.
Maybe.
Please.
Maybe.
Please.
Well, then I found out something absolutely incredible. Because here comes Happy Corbin and JoshAgeddon. Do you know what the team name of Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin is?
The Happy Folks.
That's right.
Because this is a show for 3-year-olds.
The Happy Folks. The Happy Folks. Look at the Happy Folks. Why are they happy? Because they're happy.
They're folks.
Because they're folks, and they're happy, and they wear Hawaiian shirts. And make bad jokes.
And straw hats.
And then... Dominic got, like, no And then, again, another feud ender. Why did Dominic Mysterio not wrestle his dad at any point? Why did they not continue teasing that? Because they said Rey Mysterio taught Dominic a lesson when he threw him over the top rope, and they don't have any Irish accent. Well, but then they don't. they don't have any interaction in the Rumble itself. I'm getting so angry. I'm speaking in tongues.
Sean, what I said about Almas applies to Dominic too.
I know, but still, Ray. How much time does Ray have left? If you're gonna pull the trigger, pull this trigger.
If only Dominic Guerrero had the opportunity to wrestle in NXT.
Yeah, before that was shot and killed. Oh, and can some... and apparently Dominic Mysterio left the 8-packs of Crayola magic markers that he was supposed to color his outfit with. Because it was pure white, and it looked like a paint-by-number set by Crayola. And they just, they whiff all the angles, and then we get Rick Boogs.
Again, I can just sense Sean's blood pressure mounting.
Listen, he looks good, but then he did the big elimination, and Kevin Dunn missed it with his cuts.
Of course he did.
And then he tried to do it again, and then he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I was way less impressed with him, and then he got eliminated fairly short thereafter. And then, of course, where we all kind of groaned, because Corbin and Moss eliminate AJ Styles. Let me tell you something, though. I'll tell you why. Because WWE knows that of anybody on that roster, the people who would get the heat for eliminating a crowd fan favorite would be Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss, because everybody believes that they don't deserve to be eliminating those kind of people. That's exactly why they're there. That's exactly why they have their job. And they're not the worst at it.
But hold on. Give me one thing, okay? AJ Styles was in the ring for 29 minutes, the longest of all the men. He also had 6 eliminations, the most of all the men. So we're using AJ Styles' elimination to build to Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. You couldn't use this to build towards a feud for AJ that he can have to go to WrestleMania against, I don't know, anybody?
No, that's not what WWE does.
Like, have it so that Big E eliminates AJ, and then AJ gets rid of Big E, and then they build that feud. That'd be a match I'd like to see.
What if we get AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin at WrestleMania?
I'm sorry, it's Happy Corbin, sir. It is Happy Corbin.
Sad Styles and Happy Corbin.
They're on different brands. It's not going to happen.
You don't know that.
You don't know that.
I'm very sure of that by kicking their asses.
Bro, Seth Rollins is from Raw, and he was fighting for the SmackDown World title.
Now, well, Sky, you hit on something here, because then out comes Drew, and I got to tell you, I wasn't happy to see him. I mean, I was happy to see him, but I wasn't happy to see him. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm sure that neck injury was real. I'm sure that neck injury was legit, but it was only a month. And it was surprising, but almost not in a good way. And the only thing that was interesting about Drew being there was the very end of this match and the small interaction where I thought that they were going to steal another one of the NWL's feuds when they teased Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens. Other than that, he didn't do jack. And he shouldn't have been back if this was a serious an injury, because that's less believable than when John Cena came back in 3 months or whatever it was after his injury. It hurts the credibility of the injury, even if it was legit.
He got revenge on the happy folks, though.
Oh, well.
I don't care.
Whoopee-doo.
Also, is it just me, or in this Rumble and the previous Rumble on this show, there was so much sliding underneath the bottom rope to do stuff on the outside. There was too much of that in both of these matches.
Yeah, and then speaking of things that did not happen the way they were supposed to on the outside, in comes Kofi Kingston. And out goes Kofi Kingston. And he's just eliminated.
This poor guy.
So, they were trying to do it another Kofi spot, but unfortunately he couldn't land it.
And
this honestly encapsulated this entire show.
Yep. That was it.
Yep.
Just one gigantic whiff.
Not to mention the way he took that bump, it looked like he did something to his ribs because he was having problems getting to the back.
Yeah. And then we get Big Ernest, who comes in and...
No, we're not going to just gloss over this. Why would you do such a dangerous spot for a nothing? Why even attempt it?
Because Pop.
As Michael Cole says, in his opinion, he is the Royal Rumble highlight film. And
boy, what a highlight. What a highlight we got.
Do that John Morrison spot from 2012 and they couldn't do it.
Yep. This was not necessary. So in order to get revenge, we got Big Ernest.
Biggie. And
Big Ernest just came and laid a big old whoopity-doop around. And then
27.
Fuck.
Bad Buddy.
Here we go. This is where I gave up.
I'm going to be honest. He should have won this match.
This company is the actual worst. Why would you put not one, but two non-wrestling dinguses, dingai if you will, in this matchup, and have one of them look better than half the wrestlers?
Yep.
Why? What are you trying to bury your entire roster?
Yes.
What is the point of this? This is where I was like, okay, WWE is officially conceding to AEW, like, look, go ahead and beat us. We don't give a shit. We really just don't. Because then, guess who's after that?
Shane McMahon, and that's where I started yelling. I was like, I legitimately, when Bad Bunny came out, I groaned. I was like, ah! And then Shane came out, and I'm like, ah!
And then, they did arguably the stupidest thing they did the whole match. They had Shane McMahon throw those garbage, shitty shadow boxing punches with Riddle. Riddle!
Yep.
There's one person in that whole Rumble you do not have Shane McMahon interact with. One. And why did Riddle sell for it?
He also took the Bunny Destroyer.
And Shane was sweating before he got down to the ring. He was already, like, coated in sweat.
And then why did he throw out Kevin Owens?
Because Shane got to get his licks in. Then Orton naturally...
Kevin Owens won their feud and Shane wanted revenge.
By the way, hold on. WWE can stop with this bullshit. I remember that Cameron and Naomi were feuding before Cameron left, and Cameron was the heel. I remember that Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens feuded, and Shane McMahon was the heel. Fuck off with your long-term memory shit.
Oh no, Skyler, you got the brain of a toddler. You can't some rumble. You don't remember things. We tell you to know. And then Randy Orton gets the best pop of the night because it's his hometown, and he lasts for a literal cup of coffee. And the sadist in me genuinely suspected that Bray Wyatt would show up and ruin Orton's chances in his hometown.
Don't.
No.
Sean.
No.
I will travel to Connecticut and choke you.
It's like, well, you don't threaten me with a good time, sir.
No. The thing that Sean teased me about was that number 30 was going to be Goldberg. He was going to win the Rumble and then challenge Bobby Lashley.
Oh,
well, it was basically the equivalent therein. Because out comes Brock, who just cleans house and wins. There's nothing else to say. They had Drew and Brock as the final two for a couple seconds.
Hold on. At least Riddle finally got the chance to have a match with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, where he got cradled like a child out of the ring. What a win.
Bad Bunny and Brock Lesnar going face to face, toe to toe. Only in the WWE.
Bad Bunny lasted longer than Big E did.
That made me so happy.
Hold on. Before we get to that, think about this. Big E was WWE champion for how long?
3 months.
3 months.
He lost the championship on the day one
right.
of this year.
Lost it to day one. Bad Bunny lasted longer in this Royal Rumble than Big E.
Yep.
And got 2 eliminations, including Sheamus, who's a former world champion.
Yep.
Yep.
They have quit. WWE has officially quit. Why would you not just have Drew win this then? And then have Brock just slaughter a chamber or something. That's not something Brock's done yet. Have him just go tear ass in a chamber and have him win. What? Not now. Not this, when you're trying to still have him be the babyface after being betrayed by Paul Heyman. How would you not know this would be the most rejected possible outcome for this Rumble?
Okay, let me bring my insider knowledge so I can explain the context of WWE's thinking, shall we?
Good luck.
Okay, so had Roman Reigns not had COVID at day one, it would have been Brock versus Roman with Paul Heyman betraying Brock Lesnar and going back to Roman. So Brock was supposed to win the Rumble anyways. They just decided to do all that angle on the Royal Rumble because of the COVID situation that Roman had.
That's worse. I think.
How is it worse? Think about this for a second, okay? Brock Lesnar lost the WWE Championship, and then he enters the Royal Rumbles. Isn't all the numbers in the Royal Rumble predetermined before the show begins?
Why 30? Why give him 30? Have him show up when the ring fills up at like 24. Then have Bad Bunny come out and be like, oh, I done fucked up. And then Brock can F5 him, just heave him over the top like the garbage rapper
like
that he is.
Thing when he entered the Rumble, it got into the ring and Brock Lesnar destroyed him.
It's just, this was... I don't even know what to say at this point. I don't know what to say. I just when I thought that they...
And then when Brock Lesnar pointed at the sign and the pyro went off, the sign got on fire again.
Yeah. Just when I thought they couldn't fuck this up any worse, they laid this egg. What are your thoughts on the final thoughts on this matchup?
Me?
Anyone. Anybody.
I was like, wow, okay, the show's over. I guess I'll go to bed now. The most flaccid, limp dick Royal Rumble I've ever watched.
It was the laziest Royal Rumble they've ever booked. And that includes 95 and 96 and the original.
99 was also pretty bad.
I actually really enjoy 99s for as ridiculous as it was. 99 had its moments. This did not.
99,
this did not have moments.
99 was not good. 2012 was not good.
2012 was a good Rumble. I disagree.
I would rather watch the horrific Roman Reigns and The Rock coronation than because there's still some redeeming qualities in that Rumble as opposed to this Rumble. What good came out of this Rumble? I ask again.
Boxing his highlight reel spot, which was hilarious.
That's it. That's it. There is nothing else to this Rumble. There is stuff about those other Rumbles you can look back on and go, okay, They're going for something here. They're doing something. This was self-sabotage. They took every angle they had and killed it. Basically admitting, we don't care what we're doing up to this point except for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. All of these other people are just filler from the two people that we actually give a damn about. And that's what this show was about. And I was dreading this podcast because of how sour a taste this left in my mouth. Because they could have gone any number. This is the one show where they can go any number of directions for their angles, really change things. And instead we got plain white toast with a little pat of butter, but not too much butter. Can't believe it's not butter. And maybe like a half a glass of orange juice and plain tap water, no ice.
And a heaping pile of shit.
Yeah, that's the main course.
Well, a heaping pile of shit is Ronda Rousey, so.
Yeah, that was the tone that was set. So, I guess we'll go to ratings now. I'm gonna go last on this. I want to start with JoshAgeddon.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I came out of this show feeling very similar to how I left day one. Felt like I just wasted my time. Nothing really happened. It was the most bland, blasé, whatever Royal Rumble I've ever watched from top to bottom. I honestly was more defeated and just bored than anything else watching this show. I didn't absolutely despise it. I was just more like, I mean, what can you do at this point? It's WWE. You get what you get. I'm gonna give this show a 3 out of 10.
Sky?
It says something when I'm the eternal optimist of WWE, and JoshAgeddon is the eternal hater of WWE, and he gives the higher score.
Wow.
Yeah, wow,
Okay.
indeed.
So-
Wow,
so hold on,
indeed.
Let me preface this by saying that I just tried to defend WWE for the majority of this podcast in explaining their logic, right? Their logic is fucking stupid. Here's the thing. I was talking with Sean about this, and Sean thinks that this is self-sabotage. No. The worst thing is that WWE thinks that this is a good idea. Thinks that booking Ronda Rousey to be in the Rumble and then win and either go up against Charlotte or Becky, which, by the way, apparently it's going to be Charlotte, so great. Woo.
Skipping it.
Woo.
Genuinely
Woo.
skipping it.
Projectile vomit.
But here's the thing. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, that's a great feud. It's a great idea. But for goddamn sakes, you buried the entire roster to build to that match, which we've seen so many times. The second that Brock Lesnar came out at SummerSlam, I was excited for a possibility of a Roman and Brock match, just because maybe things will be different with Roman's new heel character and Brock Lesnar's badass looking face.
Lol, no.
But they have fucked up that story. They have done it multiple times over the years, again and again and again and again. This is going to be the 5th or 6th WrestleMania match these two have had. Rock and Austin didn't wrestle this many times because people would have gotten tired of it, which they kind of did for the 3rd one.
Kind
So
of.
let me get this. So here's the thing. Overall. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are the only two people who matter in WWE, and everyone else is a mid-card filler at best. No one else is treated with importance. No one else is treated with respect. No one else matters to WWE except those two, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey. As much as I dislike Toni Storm leaving, and she's probably my favorite female wrestler right now, it's a good thing she left, because she would have been buried in service to Ronda Rousey and all the other people that WWE care about. 2 out of 10. Fuck this. Go to Sean.
Don't take Skylar blows out a lung in anger.
Jesus.
And I'm going to go with, once again, I'm going to try to use my reserved approach here. Because again, I'm believing now, and I'm coming to understand that the times that I'm really the angriest, I'm the calmest. You know, as much as I blow my lid sometimes about things, I'm finding that when I'm this calm, it's that the rage is so deep that it cannot possibly manifest bombastically enough. So I end up bringing it like way down to this level. My comments about Ronda Rousey are my comments about Ronda Rousey, and really this Rumble just proved me right, and more people are starting to see my side of the fence than not. I can't be mad with that. But I will be mad at the fact that I now walk away from Royal Rumble 22 feeling like CM Punk in 2014. This isn't fun for me anymore. There's no passion. There's passion in pro wrestling with me. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this podcast. You know, there's clearly passion in pro wrestling with me. I said it before last week, you know, that I've spent too much of my life loving this business to all of a sudden have all of this, you know, be presented this way. But really, this show, it's like it's trying to take the passion for pro wrestling out of me. And I'm not sure, genuinely, whether I have it in me to watch anything other than WrestleMania or whether I'll watch any other WWE programming past that point. I'm being dead honest with you guys. This might be the last, WrestleMania might be the last WWE review I do. Because this isn't healthy for me. This isn't healthy for any of us. We're sitting here loving pro wrestling. That's why we're here in the first place. That's the whole reason we became friends in the first place. This doesn't happen without the love for professional wrestling. And I feel it being attacked by the way that WWE has chosen to present their product and the direction and the overt slaps in the face that they're now doing to their audience where, you know, I'll quote Ben Shapiro, stupidity until proven malice. I think they genuinely are just that stupid. But at the same time, it's so stupid that they are self-sabotaging everything that could possibly make them halfway enjoyable. Whether it's, and everything that's good, their format kills. And everything that isn't good is accentuated by the fact that the formatting is bad and the choices that they have, they genuinely think is good. Which is why I got kind of a little tinfoil hat-ish and was like, maybe they're just trying to kill everybody's ratings off so they get a better sale deal. Which, you know, who knows? We genuinely don't know because Vince has got little dick syndrome about the Fortune 500s. Maybe they're trying to get in something where they can weasel their way into some sort of stock deal. I don't know. That's not my forte. But I will genuinely say this Royal Rumble, the last words I put on this sheet of paper were, I used to love pro wrestling and now I dread it. And I take that personally, WWE. So I'm not going to stick around for this toxic relationship because it's only hurting me to be around watching you if this is what your decision making is going to be. So we're going to watch WrestleMania. We're going to see what WrestleMania is, and then it's going to be decision time. So you've got one more chance because this Rumble was not only the worst WWE show I've watched, this was also the worst Royal Rumble I've watched on both counts. This is the worst professional wrestling show I've watched. And I watched AEW Revolution, and I didn't even grade that. Because that's how bad that was. But their excuse was that they don't know what they're doing. You should. You do, but you still refuse to make changes that are going to proactively help and satisfy professional wrestling lovers or even sports entertainment lovers. Screw it. Anywhere. You have no excuse. AEW did for that show because they are still learning. And look where they've gotten. They've gotten to the point where there's 7 or 8 people where you're going, okay, I'm actually genuinely want to see what they're doing on that program. Who here are you genuinely interested in seeing on this program after watching this show? Honestly. Nobody. Because they have completely ruined anything that they had going into this show. They have no care for what they're putting in after this show. And if their ratings tank to below 1 million, I genuinely don't think they care. You had 2 moments of good matches in this show. Everything else was killed by bad formatting. You get 0.5.
Damn. Not gonna lie, Sean, I used to care about WWE. It mattered to me. You are at the point now that I reached at Hell in a Cell 2019 with Seth Rollins in the theme. That was when I gave up. When I was like, I'll just watch this for fun. I'm not going to take this seriously anymore. Because why would I? It's an abusive relationship at this point. So when you remove your caring from it, I mean, yeah, it's still a little annoying and infuriating sometimes. But it doesn't hurt as bad when you no longer care. You have finally reached the point that I got to a couple of years ago. And it sucks because, again, you said it best. Wrestling is honestly what allowed us to meet. Not just the 3 of us. Some of our other friends like on other shows and other YouTube channels and this, that, and the other.
All the listeners here.
Yeah, everyone that's listening to this. We wouldn't, like, my entire channel, I don't know if I would even be doing YouTube videos if it wasn't for pro wrestling. And it does, honestly, this show, the people that made this show are less passionate about wrestling than I am. And I'm like, that's sad.
Yeah, that's because that's how it felt. It felt like we're putting more effort into just talking about this than they put in any of their angles that whole show.
Yeah.
And
I'm not trying to put myself on the back here, but Sean, you put effort into CIW. I put a lot of effort into my wrestling show. I legitimately, for 3 nights in a row for my TAW Championship Showdown, I stayed up until 4 a.m. night after night after night trying to get this show finished. And it turned out really well because I put effort into it. I tried. But these people who have millions of dollars behind them and somehow still have an adoring fan base, they have all the tools in the world, but they refuse to use them. It's depressing.
it is depressing.
What's also depressing is the fact that I gave the show that's the highest grade.
Yeah.
How?
That's an indictment. So we'll see what WrestleMania looks like. We'll see what they can put together. Maybe sometimes they got that WrestleMania magic that'll turn some things around. You know, you never know what they're gonna do. I'm gonna try and glass half full this, but this is you're running on your last couple strikes here, WWE, and I don't want to just be getting reports from Skylar as to what happened on shows. But if that's the way it's gonna be,
no, I'm not watching this show. If you're not watching this show, okay? Listen. You're not the one that's thinking about canceling their Peacock subscription, okay?
Well, that's true. That is true because you did mention that before. So as you can see,
I'm getting very close to it. Like I'm gonna give WrestleMania the last chance.
Yeah.
Last chance.
This is what you brought us to, WWE. This is where we're at, and
because we have better things to do with our time than watching your stupid shows.
Like book wrestling better than you.
Yeah.
Or watching AEW.
I'll
watch it.
Maybe not constantly, but there's a lot more highlights than there used to be. And at least that's got a level of train wreckishness where even the bad stuff is kind of comical.
One thing we can do if like the three of us decide to just stop with WWE until something changes for a while. In the meantime, perhaps we can go back and watch good wrestling shows from the past and review them on this channel.
That sounds great. I would love that. We'll do a pay-per-view review every month, and we'll just do it something, better.
Or even then, we don't have to talk about wrestling. We could just sit back and relax and jam a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Well, you might be burying the lead there, Sky. We don't want to give them too much of that sweet, delicious honey pot just yet. But it's coming, folks. There's something in the works. We don't want to give too much away, but we are going to tease you a little bit here and there until we finally unveil it. But folks, before this podcast goes as long as the Rumble did, it is time to take our first commercial break. JoshAgeddon and Skylar, thank you for bearing through and being the grittiest couple that the three of us could possibly be. And thankfully, we don't have to fight Miz and Maurice.
Wait, hold on. There's 3 of us. That doesn't work.
And we will see you right after this commercial break, baby.